Luke chapter 23, reading from verse 50. Now there was a good and righteous man named Joseph, who, though a member of the council, had not agreed to their plan and action. He came from the Jewish town of Arimathea, and he was waiting expectantly for the kingdom of God. This man went to Pilate and asked for the body of Jesus. Then he took it down, wrapped it in a linen cloth, and laid it in a rock-hewn tomb where no one had ever been laid. It was the day of preparation, and the Sabbath was beginning. The women who had come with him from Galilee followed, and they saw the tomb and how his body was laid. Then they returned and prepared spices and ointments. On the Sabbath day they rested, according to the commandment. Our second reading is from Isaiah 53, verses 11 to 12. Out of his anguish he shall see light. He shall find satisfaction through his knowledge. The righteous one, my servant, shall make many righteous, and he shall bear their iniquities. Therefore I will allot him a portion with the great, and he shall divide the spoil with the strong, because he poured out himself to death, and was numbered with the transgressors. Yet he bore the sin of many, and made intercession for the transgressors.
Easter Saturday, Scene 1. It's late in the afternoon on Good Friday. Soon it will be the Sabbath. A man called Joseph of Arimathea, goes to Pilate and asks for Jesus' body. Who is this man? Well, we're told that he is a member of the ruling council of the Jews, the Sanhedrin. He's part of the establishment. This man is either a chief priest or a scribe or a Pharisee. Those are the three groups who are part of this council. The last time Joseph of Arimathea saw Jesus was at his trial many hours ago. At that trial, the ruling council sentenced him to death. They couldn't carry out the sentence themselves, but they knew that if they got him to Pilate soon enough that he would do it for them. And Joseph was part of that group. But here's the thing. The Gospels, all the Gospels, make it very clear that Joseph was a secret disciple. We're told in Luke's Gospel that he didn't consent to their verdict. He didn't agree with it. But he said nothing. Matthew describes Joseph as rich. Mark describes him as honorable or noble. John, in his Gospel, describes Joseph as secretive. He goes to Pilate secretly for fear of his colleagues, for fear of his peers. Joseph of Arimathea, pivotal to this story, is a secret disciple. He gets the body. He carries the body. One of the Gospels has him carrying the body with Nicodemus, another secret disciple who's in the Sanhedrin. They carry the body of Jesus to a newly cut tomb in a rather lovely garden in the city. And having put the body into one of the many chambers of this tomb, probably on a ledge, they leave him there. It's too late in the day to do anything now. So they leave him thinking we'll come back on Monday and we'll tend to the body and prepare him for a proper burial. So they leave him there. Probably by way of a lever, an enormous boulder is released, covers the mouth of the tomb. This is to prevent wild animals from coming in and eating the body. So the tomb is secured, the stone is over the mouth of the tomb, and so Joseph leaves, thinking that he's still anonymous, no one has seen him. Jesus is dead, but there's new life stirring in this man. Easter Saturday, scene 2. Joseph of Arimathea thinks that no one has seen him. He wants to maintain his cover. He wants to maintain the fiction, if you like, that he is a secret disciple of Jesus, not quite ready yet to come out into the open. What he doesn't realize, I guess, is that his wasn't the only interest in the body of Jesus. There were other people there as well. Most particularly, there were some women, a number of women, a large group of women, says Matthew, looking on. They were there at his death, and they were there to see what would happen next. As far as we can tell, all the other kind of well-known disciples, the 12 apostles, if you like, have more or less gone. They fled for their lives to a man. It's the women. It's these women disciples who are left. And so they follow Joseph, maybe from a distance, and they follow him to the tomb. And then they wait. They've come to do something with the body, to prepare for burial. They realize they can't do that, but for 2 reasons. One is now the tomb is secure. They won't be able to get into the tomb, barring some kind of miracle or somebody helping them. And secondly, they run out of time. It's nearly the Sabbath, and it'll be then against the law to do anything in this place. They'll need to get home. And so these women are present. Mary Magdalene, of course, is very well known, but there are a number of other women called Mary as well present. There's somebody called Salome. There's somebody called Joanna, wife of Chusa. And Chusa was some kind of official, senior official on Herod's staff. These women too are secret disciples. We don't know much about them in the Gospels. That's probably because all the Gospels are written by men, and they've not been quite airbrushed out of the story, but they're pretty anonymous, which is very peculiar because in at least one of the Gospels, maybe in 2, there are references to their financial support of Jesus. They had independent means, these women. They were connected. And they were risking it because, again, it just wasn't the norm. In those days, it just wasn't the custom for women to have a voice, for women to be disciples of anybody. And here they are financially supporting someone who's now a known subversive. So they're really risking it. And if their husbands find out, and if Herod finds out, they're in deep trouble. But overriding all of those concerns is their love for Jesus. And particularly now, they want to make sure that in death, he's looked after, that he's cared for, he's provided for, that he will receive a good burial, a decent burial. And so that's why they're there. They're secret disciples, but they're coming out into the open. Jesus is dead, but there's new life stirring in these women. Easter Saturday, scene 3. Of course, there's somebody else in this story whom we haven't mentioned. We've talked about Joseph, we've talked about the women, but the most important person in this story, of course, is Jesus, Jesus of Nazareth. And he's dead. He is now utterly dependent on the support, the love, the care, the consideration of others. He's dead. He's unable to do anything, to feel anything. He's now at the mercy of those around him. So what is it with Easter Saturday? Why is it so important? Is it, and if you pardon the pun, just dead time? It's filling in between the horrors of Good Friday and the victory of Easter Sunday. Is it just a kind of parenthesis? It's just killing time. Well, no. The creeds, for example, the Apostle Creed makes it very clear in very spare language that he was crucified, dead, and buried. Makes a big point of that. And then says, mysteriously, he descended into hell. Doesn't elaborate on that. Doesn't say anything about it. In other words, that Jesus, when he lay in that garden, in that tomb, wasn't simply restricted to that tomb in that garden. That somehow his burial place was even in the deepest, darkest underworld of hell itself. That in his burial and in his death, there's this shout of hope, even in the places most cut off, separated from God. Easter Saturday tells us that God's love is now knows no limits. It can't be off limits. God's love has access all areas. God's love in Jesus Christ can go anywhere, reach anyone, not just on this planet, not even in this time and space dimension, but even in the deepest, darkest underworld, however we understand that. It's enormous. And so on Easter Saturday, Jesus is in that tomb. He's dead. But you know what? There's new life stirring.